Ça fait 11 ans que nous sommes présents à Montpellier pour démocratiser, populariser, diffuser,
c'est incroyable,
comprendre et aimer la musique. Ce soir, en deuxième partie, nous recevons EYEMC.
Salut, merci tout le monde.
My main man from Oregon, USA.
Hey. West Coast, bitch.
Okay.
Désolé.
There we go.
Should I not
No, you
use
can't
bad
swear
words?
as much as you fucking want, dude. Just do like pussy, shit, rubbish, cunt. We love it here.
Okay.
However, on va parler beaucoup anglais puisque tu es donc américain, comme je viens de le dire, je l'avais un peu annoncé avant. Tu nous as été envoyé par Léo Lanvers, que tu connais. Léo, on t'adore, on t'aime. Merci d'avoir envoyé un super producteur comme Marc. Léo avait sorti le FFR1, le Fast Fame Record numéro 1. C'est le premier artiste qu'on a signé sur le label de l'école. On a un label MAUG qui s'appelle le Fast Fame Records. FASTLANE, Fast Fame. C'est les élèves qui ont trouvé le nom. Et tous les 3 mois, on sort la musique de nos élèves, ou d'un de nos élèves en tout cas. Et Léo Lanvers, qui fait partie de Floor Records, qui ont vraiment la pêche. Hein. Voilà, bon, parlons pas de lui. Merci Léo de nous avoir envoyé Marc.
Merci Léo.
Donc tu es en France depuis 3 ans, tu produis.
Oui, 3 ans, back and forth.
En rentrant, en revenant, en repartant. Et tu produis aussi avec ta compagne, je crois. Your lady,
yes.
She also makes music.
Yes, so that's how we met. She was a fan of my music, and she messaged me on Instagram.
So, hold on a minute. You married a fan of your music? How does that happen? Donc t'as marié ta fan. Whoa!
You know, some rappers find money. Some rappers find clout.
You found love.
I found love. I found a beautiful French woman. So.
Is she watching us? Is she watching us right now? Isn't she?
She'll watch this later. So, hey babe, I love you.
Yeah, you picked up the right number, babe.
Yeah.
Okay, so you produce bass. I mean, you're kind of very eclectic, aren't you? Tu produis plein de sortes de musique.
Yeah, so I started off in high school just rapping. Me and my friends, like my junior and senior year of high school, we basically discovered weed, and that was during the Lil Wayne mixtape era. So we would just get super stoned and listen to Lil Wayne, and it just like sparked us to all start rapping. And then I kind of just kept doing it, and then I discovered that it really made sense in my brain. And there was just like something really captivating and intriguing about it. And it was very random. Like, I grew up like playing sports. I played basketball in college for a year. I thought I was going to get into like sports medicine or physical therapy, and then I dropped out of college to be a rapper.
You discovered weed.
Yeah, pretty much weed and rap music. And then so I dropped out of school from playing basketball, and I went to the Los Angeles Recording School and got an associate's degree in recording arts. And that was basically just what kickstarted my journey of making my own music.
So, Marc nous dit qu'il a découvert les cassettes de Lil Wayne, les mixtapes de Lil Wayne. Et avec ses potes, ils ont commencé à fumer de la weed, à écouter Lil Wayne, et ils ont commencé à rapper. Ça a démarré comme ça. Il était parti pour faire une carrière dans le sport, et puis voilà, il a trouvé la weed, il a trouvé Lil Wayne, et bam, il est parti faire une école de musique à Los Angeles. Il a eu son degré, et on en était à peu près là de la story. Allez, on continue.
Yeah, so what I was really intrigued with, because as a rapper, you know, you can find your beats wherever you find them, if your friends make them or you find them on YouTube, and you can write your raps and you can feel like a cool rapper, but you can't really make your own music, right? Like, it takes an engineer and a producer, and I just kind of realized young that if I can learn how to do all of that stuff myself, then I won't ever need a producer or an engineer to make my own music. And it's also something I can do outside of my own music. So it seemed like kind of a responsible way to become a rapper, I guess, because I can also work as a producer and as an engineer. And so that's kind of been my journey where, you know, I'm very much on my journey as my own artist, but I also, like, I make music with my wife. I have several other artists that I produce and engineer for, and if my dreams don't work out, I feel like I'm developing myself in a way that I can still exist as a producer, as an engineer, as an artist, just because I've taken the time to really learn the tools. And I feel like it's such a powerful position as a vocal artist to be able to do everything yourself.
Donc Marc s'est vite rendu compte que comme en tant que donc rappeur, il fallait toujours compter sur d'autres personnes pour pouvoir vraiment produire de la musique. Oui, tu peux trouver de la musique ou des backing tracks, des beats sur YouTube ou des gens qui le font pour toi, mais ça lui a tout de suite bien sûr intéressé, ça l'a intéressé de pouvoir être son propre ingénieur et il essaie d'en faire une carrière. Il produit plusieurs personnes, il produit de la musique avec sa femme et on en est à peu près là de la story. So tonight you're saying on the we ask people before they come here what are you going to talk about. People are totally free to choose what they're going to talk about. Mo chose to use AI or talk about AI, and you kind of said you're going to make bridges in between bass music, which is proper electronic music, right? And I mean, bass music is a pretty broad concept, right?
Yeah.
But and you're gonna try and said you're gonna make bridges between that type of music, which is pretty production intense and production heavy, over to rap music, which is less production intense, I would say, and relies more on the performance of an artist. And so you're saying maybe you're gonna electronic. Add a bit more electronic to the rap and see how you can, and that's going to be quite technical, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
we're going to see Ableton live and we're going to see how you work.
Yeah, so basically, first what I want to do is just kind of talk a little bit about how stories are told in rap music and how stories are told in bass music. And I also kind of want to point out that if you're not into electronic music or bass music, but maybe you're more into rap music, you might have a certain idea about EDM, that it like fits in this certain environment, but it's really like when you get into like the subcultures of it, there's so much like incredible bass music that's like heavily influenced off of hip hop. It's like basically a rap song, but you don't have a rapper. You have to tell the story with the beat, so it's based around like sound design, but it's all in its core. It's the same grooves, the same patterns, the same tempos as hip hop. So I think that there's like, if you're into rap music, there's this whole world of electronic music that you can find so much inspiration from, especially if you're a rap producer, like to just listen to that kind of music. And that's like, it's some mind-blowing shit. Like, there's some people that are really good at that,
Marc dit qu'il entend dans son... Lui, il voit beaucoup naturellement de bridge, de pont entre la musique électronique de bass music. Il a dit... You said IDM or EDM?
EDM. I mean, that's what...
EDM is electronic dance music. So il voit, en tout cas, il entend, lui, beaucoup de parallèles de la manière dont une histoire est racontée dans la musique rap. Et comment une histoire est racontée sans parole dans une musique EDM. Un propos très intéressant, je trouve. On va voir techniquement. Let's see how technically you get along with it. Once you're in Ableton, we don't need to translate anything. Everybody, tout le monde va comprendre une fois qu'on est dans Ableton. On parle tous le même langage. So let's dive into a session. Maybe listen quickly to some of your music.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll leave you on the stage on your own. I'll be just right there in case something is going to be done. But let's quickly dive into the music.
Yeah, and please, if anybody...
EYEMC!
Merci, c'est gentil, merci. And really, if anybody wants to stop and slow down and get a translation on anything, I'm here for you guys. So
Freddie is here.
Yeah, we're here for you guys. Yeah. So the first thing I kind of just wanted to bring up was like the idea of storytelling in music, because rap music is inherently storytelling, right? Like that's what the core foundation of rap music. Like you can go back to the earliest rap songs where like, I walked in the park, I was with my friends. It's like, it's corny and old when we listen to it now, but it's all just telling a story, right? And so the purpose that the instrumental or the beat serves in a rap song typically is just to kind of create an environment for this lyric-driven story to live inside. Now, bass music, electronic music, obviously there's lyrics incorporated with bass music, but in bass music, you have to tell a story without lyrics. So that kind of like poses a different idea or a different approach, right? Because you don't have these words to carry you through the whole experience. You're carried through the track, through the composition, through the arrangement, through the transitions, through the sound design, through the buildup of tension, the release, all of those kind of things is how you tell a story with bass music. And so kind of like what I want to look at today is like, if with bass music, you're telling a story without lyrics and you're using all of these different production techniques to pull this off, and now you have rap music, which is a story with lyrics, how much better of a story can you tell if you combine the two worlds? Like if you're taking ideas of how you tell a story without words, combining that with a story with words, now I feel like that's the future of music. Like to me, maybe a future. There's obviously incredible things. I don't want to discount live musicians or anything like that at all, but I think that's the direction that this is going. And especially me being here in France, like listening to French rap music, like I don't understand French. And I'm a producer. So all I really...
And we don't understand English, so yeah, carry on.
Yeah. So what I'm... Yeah, we're going to dive into all of that. Yeah. To future the artist future, or...
Non, mais ce que tu dis, and I'm going to translate again, ce que tu dis, c'est que tu penses qu'on devrait mettre le storytelling, c'est-à-dire l'histoire racontée en bass music, sans paroles, tu veux l'associer avec les paroles, et c'est ce que probablement la musique que toi t'essayes de faire, et ce que tu penses qui devrait être le futur. Peut-être que tu es en train de dire, peut-être qu'il n'y a pas... Maybe you're trying to say that rap music doesn't... in general, and that's obviously a very big general, isn't maybe looking after the sound design enough?
I think that there's just a lot of room to grow. There's like a vast area to explore in this world right now. I'm not trying to discount rap music or what it is, because I love it, we all love it. Yeah. But I just think there's this whole universe that's kind of untapped. And I think it's going to take smart producers, intentional artists, like people that are willing, that want to go and kind of explore this unknown area, And so that's kind of what I want to show you guys today.
Have you got any examples of that? What you're aiming at?
Yeah, so I have like a rap song that's just like a classic rap song that I love, and then a bass music song that has no lyrics that I really love and enjoy. So I'm going to play both of these songs for you, and I'm just quickly we're going to talk about how this song like accomplishes the goal of telling the story, right?
Great.
So here's the first track here.
Start again.
So the song's Low Class Conspiracy by Quasimodo. And Quasimodo is an alias of a producer named Madlib. So this is some old school awesome rap
Hey yo, we
music.
head to a party, then go see what's happening. Smoking the law, in the car, turn on some rapping. Start the freestyle, we be up on our way. Finish up the blunt.
Somebody pass that spray.
Get on the freeway, yo, it's after dark. Guess who always pulls up right behind a can, some narcs. Letting all kinds of speeding cars pass, just so he can harass our black ass. Police pulling us over for no reason. Searching the car, like it's nigga hunting season. Yeah, round, asking about where's the pound, where's the guns? Are y'all niggas on the run? You got warrants? Y'all niggas ready for some torment? That's how they be cracking. It seems like they be acting, except it's real life, like they rushing up your residence, searching the crib. They can't find no evidence. Man, this stuff is making me mad, man. I'm saying, man, I ain't tripping.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right here and just tell you what I think is so effective about this song. So this song, the story that he's telling is basically about being black in LA and getting fucked with by the cops when you didn't do anything wrong, or they didn't find any evidence of anything you did wrong. So that's the story that's being told, and it's simple, but I thought this was such a cool track to kind of portray this idea of how does the beat carry this story. Like there's kind of two sections. There's the beginning section where it's like the dun, 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 and then it goes into the sample. And the way that it goes into the sample when he starts rapping and telling the story, it just, to me, it just sounds like a palette to tell the story. And the way it goes into the jazzy groove, the dun 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 dun, dun, like it's just very well executed in creating an environment for the storytelling part of the song. And then when he goes into the chorus, it goes into the dun 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 dun, dun, and he's talking about how angry and fed up he is about getting fucked with by the cops.
That's when you stopped it. That's
the chorus, and so I stopped it in the chorus in the middle, and so.
Donc, une seconde, one sec, Marc. Marc dit donc que l'histoire du morceau qui donc parle de la vie de jeunes gens black à Los Angeles et en train de se faire emmerder par les flics alors qu'ils n'ont rien fait est très bien exécuté et donc un propos qui nous mène par le bout du nez du début à la fin et que voilà, il pense que l'exécution musicale a été très bien amenée pour que le propos puisse s'exprimer. Il n'a pas vraiment dit ça, mais...
And so then I won't go through the whole rest of the track, but just think about how the beat changes when he starts telling the story again. And for me, it works. It's simple. That's what hip hop is, you know? It's simple, but it's just like a perfect environment for this story to live inside.
The other day, Mr. Buddha had this plan to get grands off the man so our whole crew could expand. They all wanted me to drive the getaway. Car was like, fuck it, cause I ain't got no dough anyway.
Okay, so we don't need to go through the whole track, but it's just I wanted to just show something that's just simple and super hip-hop at its core, just to show how I feel like a hip-hop track can successfully tell a story. Awesome lyrics, a simple beat that works, and the whole track works. It's classic, you know? Now here's a song by an artist named Charles I and Saruda, and Charles actually passed away, so rest in peace, Charles I. But this track is very interesting to me because this is not an example of like what you would think of like EDM bass music. Like it's very hip hop at its core, and it's kind of like a melancholic or a deep idea. So the song is called "Hang in There," and you know when you're telling a story without words, you know you have the way you compose the song, but you also have like the title. For example, the title can be something that aids in the storytelling. So for this song, it's titled "Hang in There," and it has kind of like a melancholic mood at the beginning, and as the beat carries, to me, the story that it's telling is that you're in your head, you're lost, you're just trying to hold on. Life is hard, and you're just trying to hold on. Right. And then the track transitions into a bass music part. And that part of the track, to me, feels like the moment where you're like, I can hold on, I can get through this, you know, and where you find the strength to actually hang in there. And so, to me, this is just a really cool example of telling a story without words.
Hang in there, lâche pas l'affaire.
Yeah, hang in there, like
lâche pas l'affaire.
Like hold on. When things are hard, just hold on, stay afloat. You know. And then after this, I'm gonna go into a track that I've produced and kind of break down different ideas as far as like arrangement, sound design, and engineering of kind of how you can approach these different ideas. But yeah, I just wanted to show a couple things that I feel present this idea well. Okay, so why I picked that song to show this example is because it's super emotional, right? Like it has such an emotive environment that it's created. And because the title of the track is Hang In There, I feel like it sets an intention for the feeling of the song. So to me, I'm able to kind of take that information and hear the song and like tell myself the story, you know, like I can carry my listening experience through that song, like playing my own story in my head because of the way that, you know, the track was produced, because of the way the sounds were selected, the way it flows, the way it transitions, all of those things. And there was no words in that entire song, right? But to me, that song still successfully told a story. So what I want to look at now is kind of what makes you able to tell a story without words when it comes to electronic music. Pardon. So I've kind of broken it down into arrangement, sound design, and engineering. So as far as on the arrangement, with a bass music track, there's a lot more emphasis on the sound design of the way the song transitions and flows from one section to another. Because with lyrics, you can get from one place to the next based off of the lyrics, and the beat isn't as important to create that transition. But with bass music, the transition has to kind of be crafted, right? Like you need to, inside of Ableton or whatever DAW you use, like you have a section here and a section here. You need to get from one place to another in interesting ways, you know? So that's kind of one of like the main things. Like if you take that idea from bass music and you put that into your rap music production, like how many doors does that open? Like how many new ideas can you come up with and generate with that idea, you know? So yeah, I'm going to use a track that I've made recently to show you guys this. So this is actually a bootleg remix of a French rap song. So I thought that would be appropriate to play here. So we had our presentation about AI earlier, and I used an AI stem separation tool.
Excellent, that's right, and merci.
Yeah, and so I took this song. The song is Mauvais Payeur by Lefebvre. I don't know if any of you have ever heard that.
You had the voice. You extracted the voice.
I extracted the voice and the instrument stems, the drum stem and the bass stems. So you can get those separated. And I think that this, if you're a rap producer and this is an interesting concept to you that you want to explore, this is a great way to dive into that world, because you can basically take any of your favorite rap songs and bass music it out. And you can take the song, extract the vocal a cappella, extract the drum.
Which tool did you use to do
It's called vocalremover.org, and I think you get like one free one every once in a while.
Il a donc extrait, ceux qui n'ont pas compris, il a donc extrait les stems à partir du morceau original. Donc ce remix est complètement illégal en d'autres termes. Et il a utilisé une AI pour extraire ça. Ça s'appelle vocal.org.
Yeah, so I can show you really fast.
Vocal removal. Removal.
And this thing is cool because you can pay like $1 a month to this guy's Patreon who made this website, and you can get unlimited high quality extractions. So like I'll show you really quick what this ended up turning into, or what the original stems sounded like here. So this was like the original beat that, and turn that up a little bit.
So you got 4 stems.
Yeah. And this is what I made this whole thing out. It's a little out of time, it sounds like. Oh, some of them are warped. And you can see I have this stem, the drum stem, And it does a really good job at this. And yeah, it's not something that you could like officially release, but it's a really good exercise to practice. And like for me, when I play shows and I'm DJing music, this is like a really popular thing that bass music producers do back in the States, where they'll take a rap song and bass music it out. And then they play that at the shows. And oftentimes those are the tracks that go the hardest during the sets, because people have that, it's a rap song they know, but then they hear it transformed in this whole new way. So I'm gonna play this for you right now. This is what I made, and then I will kind of break down all of these different ideas of how I basically took this rap song and bass musiced it out without making it like a dubstep, like, you know, there's so much nuance and there's so much you can do with bass music that doesn't have to be hardcore. It gets kind of hardcore at the end, but I like to do that, so.
Nouveau chéri, ancien mauvais payeur, pas de frayeur, mais ils savent que je suis le meilleur. Je parle avec une voix intérieure, le temps y passe, ancien simp, nouveau player. Si j'arrive, je fais un dawa, je t'emmerde la loi, je suis un jeune à la Bokawa. Mon frérot, j'avais pas moi, tant de parois, je compte pas le temps qu'on perd par mois. Bon, t'es parti, j'ai phasé, des souvenirs effacés. Bon, c'est du passé, la biche à des cachets, c'est caché. Toujours passé trop lit, je suis fâché. Yeah, mental d'assassin. J'aime que la femme qui m'a donné le 500. Yes, tu as comme un zinzin. J'ai trop de cœur, je peux te donner pour un zin. Yeah, on le fait pour ce pays. Je sais que t'as eu peur, j'ai là de couleur ligue. On se pète tant que je Mike. Je drop ça comme Michael, je suis pauvre comme Michael. C'est charisme au Mike. C'est pour ça que le petit jeune il veut le featuring. Bientôt tu vois la fête en figurine. Toi tu fais le G, mais quand ça part tu t'en fais du ring. Rappeur, je ne suis pas dans les classements. Je suis en déplacement. On pourrait s'en passer mais les gazements. Sortir de ce piège, on veut ça tous les jours malheureux. Je pensais t'aider mon frère, à quoi tu joues malheureux. J'ai arrêté quand la chance arrive à l'heure. Toi t'as des occasions, pourquoi tu fais le peureux? Je crois la vie c'est comme un casse-tête, pas de casquette. Tour du monde, je fais pas de basket. Commercial c'est sale pleine, sale c'est sale thème. Ma chérie je sais c'est ça que t'aimes, blesse. Une chaînée, la vida, un bouge pas, on vide ça. Des plavons, on vide ça. Dubaïou, Ibiza, toi tu fais le jaloux, mon garçon t'es bizarre. Nouveau chéri, ancien mauvais payeur, pas de frayeur, mais ils savent que je suis le meilleur. Je parle avec une voix intérieure, le temps y passe, ancien simp, nouveau player. Si j'arrive je fais un dawa, je t'emmerde la loi, je suis un jeune à la Bokawa. Mon frérot j'avais pas moi, tant de parois, je compte pas le temps qu'on perd par mois. Pas de frayeur, mais je sais que je suis le meilleur. Je parle avec une voix intérieure, le temps y passe, ancien simple, nouveau player. Si j'arrive, je fais un dawa, je t'entends la loi, je suis un jeune à la Bokawa. Mon frérot, j'avais pas moi, tant de parois, je compte pas le temps qu'on perd par mois.
Merci. So that is an example of how you can like bass music out a rap song without changing, like getting too far away from the original universe as far as like the moments where he's rapping. I wanted to keep it kind of true to the feeling of the original song And then what's cool about bass music is there's drops. So then you can like build up to this giant climax, right? Where all of the sudden like shit just gets loud and it's just a wall of sound, you know? And you can't play a whole hour-long set of just everything is on and happening, right? But that contrast between those two kind of ideas of like keeping things more atmospheric and subby and then just bringing it into like full on like fuck you bass, right? Like that's like a long distance that you're traveling as far as like the storytelling or carrying the energy or the idea of the song, you know? And
how about this bass line at the end of the lead bass line? Can we see look at the chain?
Yeah, definitely.
Chain?
Yeah.
And
so
je demandais un petit peu comment il avait fait le son à la fin, un peu vénère. On veut voir un petit peu comment tu produis. On veut te voler tes idées, Marc. We want to steal your ideas, man.
Hey, man. Well,
show us your plugs.
This is actually
get your plugs out. Get your plugs out, babe.
This is a new trick that I've came up with too, and I haven't heard much that really sounds that kind of has this bass sound is kind of a new little discovery of mine. But I'll share it with you guys because that's what I'm here to do. So first thing with the bass line, like the way I approached it, and this is like a tried and true method. If you want to bass music out a rap music song, take the melody that's happening with, in this case, it's like a flute melody, and you take that melody and then you turn that melody into a bass line. So, boom. It works every fucking time. It works every time. And it's such a good place to start because then if you're new to this and it's something you want to try and it's like, well, the song has like a simple melody. What if I just recreated that melody and then try to find a cool bass sound that works, you know? And so that's pretty much what I did here. Like you can see the melody is from the original sample of the song. Where's my sounds? Here we are. So this is the melody. Na 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 na. It's super simple, but that's like kind of the perfect melody for that kind of bass. So like if I'll solo that along with this bass, and you can kind of hear the melody turn from the flute and it like becomes the bass. So that's a really good, it always works. Like if you just have to get a good bass sound that works, you know, but so that was my approach here. And something, and I think this is like a good idea to explain, is that a lot of what kind of fills up and enables an electronic or bass music song to exist without lyrics is layering. Layering is a huge thing that exists in bass music. Layering your sounds that I feel like is less important in rap music because you don't want to layer all of this stuff if you also everything's going to be competing with a vocal.
Donc, Marc dit que l'important c'est de mettre des couches et des couches et des couches et des couches de basse. Comme on peut le voir d'ailleurs, on en voit 4 ou 5 là.
So this bass patch is 5 layers.
Let's hear them.
So we have a sub, which is just a super simple clean sub. And that's just from a synthesizer called Current. Do you guys want me to like unfreeze?
Yeah.
And
We want to
show?
see that.
Yeah. So Current is just a really awesome wavetable synthesizer, and it has this sub oscillator right here. And so I'm only using the sub oscillator. And what's so cool about this is it has these harmonics, and you just have so much control just over your sub right here. It's just like the perfect sub maker. You can get like attack on it. So it's just so sick for making subs, and it's just, I don't know, I love it. It's the perfect tool for it. So I'm literally just put the MIDI melody into Current, and because there's so much happening with the other layers of the bass, like I mostly just wanted this sub fundamental. And so this sub is hitting a C note, which is typically not the best idea because unless you're playing on a big sound system, most sound systems can't reproduce bass that low. But when you play on a big ass sound system and you hit a low C and it's just like thumping and rumbling, it's insane. And that was something with bass music back in the States, like there will be a promotion for a show and they will put what sound system is there, like it's another artist. In this kind of underground bass music, there's a big emphasis on big sound and like big sound systems. So I'll make this kind of music where if you're like playing this at a bar in Montpellier, there's going to be no sub happening when it's like a C note. You're just relying on the harmonics above that sub frequency to give the impression of the sub.
Juste une seconde parce que c'était un peu technique. Pour ceux qui veulent avoir plus d'informations sur ce qu'il vient de dire, c'est que le sub il fait un do et un do, je sais pas, bon, un -1, ça dépend de l'oscillateur comment il est placé, mais il pense que c'est une note très très basse, trop basse, qui ne sort que si elle est jouée sur un énorme sound system, qu'aux États-Unis ils ont une grosse sound system culture et que voilà, ce genre de note est trop basse normalement dans un bar comme ici pour avoir tout l'impact qu'on espère lui donner. So what note is a good note? G? G is a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that like E, F, F sharp, G, those are kind of going to be the like sweet spot for being able to get sub to come through on a smaller sound system. But also, I don't care. I just want to make the song. And like, if I would have wanted this bass line to be 3 semitones higher, I would have had to transpose the entire track up 3 semitones. So I just said, fuck it. Deep ass bass. When I play it on a big sound system, then it's going to be sick. But you still get the idea of it, you know? So, but you know, those are the kind of things that you like learn as a bass music producer, where if you're making rap music and every time you have your 808 hitting on like a C or a low B, and then you're playing small clubs and bars in Montpellier and around the south of France, like you will never once have a single 808 felt by the crowd. So like as a bass music producer, I know like if I want a track to like really come through on any sound system, I'm going to write it and have my like main sub stuff happening around E, F, F sharp, because smaller speakers can produce those frequencies. So we'll go into the next layers. So this is kind of the main layer, and this is where the sauce of this bass happens. Here, I'm gonna undo so this freezes back up. I think the session should be fine, but I have everything frozen. Okay, so here's where my sauce is on this bass, and it is this plugin called Chroma. So what Chroma does is it's like I don't even know what you call it. It's like a spectral repitch or a spectral pitch changing. Basically what happens, you set the key of your song in the plugin. Any sound that you run through the plugin, it's going to take all of the different harmonics of that sound, and then it's going to tune them to be in the key of your song. So basically you can like put any sound through it, and in theory, the sound will come out of it in F minor, in this case, for this song. And so, like, I'll show you...
Sounds like cheating.
It's really cool. It's awesome. I don't know if you've heard of, like, color bass. It's kind of a style of bass music, but that's how they make those kind of sounds. So, like, this patch here is... it's pretty simple. There's some... hyperdimension, some distortion, compression, and a filter. That's all. And then it's basically just one oscillator that's kind of playing the fundamental, and this other one is pitched up 2 octaves and 7 semitones from the first one. So that's what's creating the harmonic. And I'll show you that sound without all of this post-processing, which looks like a lot, but it's really actually not that much stuff. So that's like not really that complicated of a sound. And then the only thing I'm automating is this, to like get the like pitch to go up higher, I'm automating this like sync warp right here. And I'm automating the octave of. So that's kind of what gets automated to kind of evolve the patch as it goes. And so it's a pretty simple kind of just tone that's happening. I put that through some reverb just because if you put a sound through reverb and then distort it and do all of this stuff after it, it kind of just like cooks the reverb into the sound and creates kind of more space and stereo image. So I put it through the reverb, and then this chroma effect is what gives it that kind of, almost makes it sound like a giant chord is happening. Without it. With it. And so you can hear what it's doing is it's just like remapping the different frequencies and harmonics that are happening in that sound and just like shifting them all slightly to be perfectly in key of F minor. When you do that and then you distort it, add noise with erosion, multiband distortion here with roar, which this is incredible. I don't know if you guys have messed with roar yet, but it's so cool.
It's more roar has messed with us, more like.
Yeah. I haven't even dove super deep into it yet. I just, having it on the multi-band mode, it's just like such a quick and easy way to be able to like shape the tone of a sound and be able to like saturate and distort lows, mids, and highs separately. And then it has these like cool different distortion modes. So like on this one, I have the mids are doing this diode mode. The highs are doing fractal, whatever the fuck that is. And low is just doing like simple soft saturation. So once you start to like really distort this kind of sound, it's like starts to really come to life. And then squash is just kind of like an OTT type plugin, just like upwards multiband compression. But this is the company that makes that current synth, and I don't know, it works. It sounds good. I don't think I had that on there. And then a really good tool for just like pushing a sound as hard as it can go is using Ableton's glue compressor and using it as a clipper. So you turn the soft clip on right here and then push the makeup gain. And you can like, that's without it. And basically my whole idea with this is I'm just trying to get the sound to like crunch itself out as much as it can before it breaks and sounds like shit. And then what I'm doing with the other layers is just kind of like reinforcing that. So the next layer, like, so right now we have the sub layer and this top layer, like this kind of main harmonic layer. So that's those together. And then if we add, this is like a noise layer. So this is just a, like a patch that I followed some tutorial from some guy that showed if you make an 808 in a synth and then put it through this wave folder in a specific way, you can like get this noise layer on top of the bass. I honestly don't even know how to explain it. I just followed a tutorial here. But just to show you, like I think it's all getting high passed later in the group here, or right here too. But yeah, it's just like a sub with like a super crunchy layer of noise. And what I really like about this is when you combine that with everything else, it starts to like make it feel like the speaker's like breaking, right? And it's like, I like to do that where when everything finally hits, it's like pushing it to the point where it's like about to like rip apart. You know, that's what I want this to sound like. So when you layer that noise with the sub and with the harmonic layer, now you have that. And then these other 2 layers were just to like reinforce the mids. So it was like super simple. I don't even need to show you the patch. I think it was like a square wave with a filter and a saw wave with a filter. I'm adding that, and I still felt like I wanted like the grit of a saw wave behind it. And so I add that in as well. And once all these layers are together, now like you have this like really full sound, and you never would have been able to really achieve that sound with just like one synth and one effects chain. So what you want to do is you want to kind of like look at different areas of the frequency spectrum. Like you need to deal with your sub, you need to deal with like your low mids. Typically with these kind of basses, like you want to have a really present sub. You want to have less information happening in your low mids because that's kind of what creates a separation between the sub frequencies and the rest of the sound. So like if you look at this sound in a spectrum,
we got about 5 minutes left.
5 minutes left?
Yeah, 5 to 10.
Okay. Wow, that's went really fast.
Yeah, that's usually what does, yeah.
So you can see the shape of that bass right there. And that's kind of a good shape for this kind of sound because you can see like the sub is super present. This area is kind of lacking, and then these mids and high mids are kind of like peaking around the same level of the sub. And so that's what's going to give it that like huge low end, but also that like detail in the high end. And something that's really useful that I recommend if you're interested in this kind of stuff is this Voxengo Span. It's a free spectrum analyzer. Get that, put it in Ableton, or you can use Spectrum. I just like this one. It works for me. And take tracks that you know you like the way they sound, you know that they're mixed down well, you like the balance. Put it in Ableton and look at it. I make all of this in my headphones. I don't have a studio right now with speakers at all. So like I make all of this in my headphones, which is like counterintuitive because it's music to be played on a giant system and I'm making it in these super tiny speakers. But this is how I'm able to do that and pull that off, is because like I know what this kind of song is supposed to look like as far as the balance, because I can't really hear what's happening down here in my tiny headphones. Like, so taking something like this, using it to analyze other songs and then kind of apply that to your mix downs. So like if you have a song that you're kind of trying to emulate or a style you're going for, you can know what it's supposed to look like. And that can really help, especially making music that's supposed to be played really loud when you can't really play it super loud. So speaking of loudness, like another thing I want to go into really quick is like engineering wise. Bass music is designed to like hit hard, right? Like the drums you want the drums to like pop through the mix, snap. There's kind of just more emphasis on like the design of the drums and how you can get things loud and present. So one of the ways is like layering. Like this snare has, like if you hear just the drums, oops. It's like a pretty simple, just like rap drum beat, right? Like you could put like any like rap loop over this and it's just like rap drums, right? But like on the drum group, for example, I'm using this clipper right here. And what this clipper is doing is it's chopping off and just like basically like cutting the top of my transients off. This might be going a little hard, but honestly, like what you want to do is you want to cut and clip your drums as much as possible before you start to like hear it and before it starts to mess up the sound of your drums. Because like if you look at this clipping that's happening, and then let's say we'll look at this like master limiter that I have right now. I'm gonna pump that up a little more so you can like see how the drums are hitting into the limiter. And then if I take this clipper off and look at the drums, they're like, see how much farther down, how much more they're pushing the limiter, but they don't sound any louder. Like, see, that went all the way down to like -7 on there. And if we turn the clipper back on, it sounds exactly the same. But now look, it's like barely getting down to like -3 on the limiter right there. So that, for example, that's like a bass music technique that's super applicable to other genres, especially rap music. Like, if you want your show of the rap music that you make, if you want your live show to be as cool as possible, like engineering your music to sound good live, I think is a good idea, right? And like, when you're a bass music DJ, the only thing you have is how good your music sounds live. You know, that's all you got. You don't have anything else to fall back on. So there's so much emphasis around that. So this, for example, is like a technique that has come from the bass music world that's super applicable to producing rap music. And now you can apply that kind of processing to your drum groups and get your drums to like hit way harder and be louder. You can get your whole song louder because you're not hitting your limiter as hard, because you're kind of chopping these super, you know, like milliseconds transients and information that's going to hit your limiter and mess up your master, but you don't actually hear it. You're not getting anything out of it.
En deux mots, parce que je vais le traduire, c'est un peu technique ce qu'il vient de dire, n'est-ce pas? Donc vous avez remarqué qu'il utilise le K-Clipper, qui est un petit peu la référence maintenant mondiale pour le clipping. On peut faire ça avec Saturator dans live, mais c'est pas aussi efficace que le K-Clipper. Et le K-Clipper permet de chopper, de couper les pics les plus abrupts dans votre snare, par exemple, ou tout ce qui est drums, très bien sûr percussif. Cela permet au limiteur qui est sur le master ou sur les groupes, permet au limiteur ça vous permet à vous de pousser le limiteur beaucoup plus haut, parce que ces pics ne vont pas aller déclencher le limiteur beaucoup plus comme il l'était avant. Et ça va vous donner la possibilité de pousser beaucoup plus fort votre volume général en fin de compte. Donc on met des clippers un peu partout maintenant. C'est un peu la règle. J'ai demandé à la salle s'il y avait des questions. Bien sûr, on pourra les traduire si vous voulez. En tout cas, merci Marc d'avoir dévoilé autant de détails. C'est ce qu'on veut voir ici. Hein. On veut apprendre des choses et bien sûr ton approche artistique est très intéressante aussi, avec vraiment ce mélange de bass music et de hip-hop. Aussi, on a été... c'est sympa, suite à la discussion qu'on a eue avec Monsieur Mo au sujet de l'AI, tu nous présentes un morceau dans lequel tu as utilisé le démixage, qui nous permet donc d'extraire des stems à partir d'un morceau entier. Alors, c'est marrant, tu as dit la même chose tout à l'heure, Mo. Is AI really involved in demixing sounds? I'm not entirely sure, guys, because we've had demixing for 20 years now. I mean, not as good as it is now, but it's kind of been around when AI wasn't even thought of. Ce que je veux dire par là, c'est que le démixage qu'on a maintenant, la possibilité d'extraire la basse, la voix ou les drums ou le reste d'un morceau, comme on le fait d'ailleurs avec Repix, qui est quand même pour moi la référence sur le marché. C'est pas forcément, je suis pas persuadé qu'on puisse appeler ça de l'AI. Je crois juste que on est devenu bien meilleur maintenant à maîtriser les algorithmes de Fourier. Ça fait 40 ans qu'on travaille dessus. Je pense pas que ce soit spécialement de l'AI. I don't think AI is involved. I mean, yes, maybe it helps, but we've had fast Fourier transform for like since he created it, and for like many years now, people have been trying to extract stems. It's been the Graal, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, the technology right now
yeah.
is incredible, but this isn't like AI is not making any of this.
I'm not entirely sure AI is involved. I mean, it's probably involved like in any of it. But
yeah, I think that, there's just like the future of all of this shit is inside these computers. And if you want to be prolific as an artist, you're only going to be, 1,000 steps ahead of where you were before. Like, if you know how to do this shit compared to if you don't. And like, you don't have to, it depends what you want to get out of it, but That's why I think it's like the future of music. And, you know, like AI can't explore this idea the way that a human can, right? Like maybe someday soon it can. But like to me, this is uncharted territory, right? Like this is, you know, not that it hasn't been done. Like people have mixed electronic music with lyric-driven music, obviously, right? But I think like in rap music especially, there's just so much to explore there. And then, yeah, just one other point, because this went really fast and I had more stuff that I wanted to talk about. One other thing that I just thought was like a really good kind of thing to take away from how you can inject bass music ideas into rap music is like the transitions and the way like the nuance of the flow of things. So I just wanted to go over this like transition part one more time, and then we'll open it up to questions and be good. And basically I just want to show how like all of these different sounds, like I'm automating filters and reverbs and volumes of things to kind of go out and come in just to like create the flow, which just is like, it's simple. It's like filter automation, reverb automation, volume automation.
Marc va nous montrer un petit peu comment il crée ces transitions, parce que ça c'est vraiment aussi un élément qui est vraiment pris, et on l'a entendu dans sa musique, de la bass music, et qui n'est pas normalement aussi léché dans un morceau de hip-hop. Donc il essaie de nous montrer là un petit peu les techniques de bass music utilisées.
So yeah, I just want to like go over this transition part one more time. Like we have the echo from the drum little fill. And now this clap thing is slowly coming in. This bass sub drop slowly rises. This sound is filtering out while the bass filters in, you know? I know that's a lot. But you know, there's automation with reverb building with the vocal. There's some distortion automating up with the vocal. So it's just like little techniques that really aren't that hard, but like things that you learn as a bass music producer that I feel like you can apply to any lyric-driven style of music, and there's just a lot to learn there.
J'imagine que la difficulté reste de faire en sorte que le vocal reste intelligible à travers une masse de sons plus importante. C'est vrai que le rap n'est pas simple, mais n'est légèrement pas très touffu. Il y a généralement une masse sonore moins importante, même s'il y a beaucoup de pression sonore. Je ne vais pas parler de la pression, je parlais de la masse sonore, et une masse sonore en général un petit peu moins importante qu'en bass music, pour justement donner de la place aux vocals, puisque tout est fait pour mettre en valeur, mettre le vocal sur un piédestal dans le hip-hop. Le hip-hop sans vocal ne vaut pas un sou par rapport à ce qu'il vaut avec le vocal. What I'm trying to say is that the difficult part of your work here, with so much sound and heavy sounds and lots of density in your sound, makes it difficult to keep it away from the vocals.
Yeah, but that's like an arrangement thing, because if you look at when he's actually rapping and the vocals really happening, like this is what the beat sounds like, you know? Like there's room for the rap to happen over there. When the giant bass comes in, there's no more rapping. So it's almost like the vocal is like the kind of mid-frequency and mid-high like focal point of the track and the mix. And then it transitions to where now the vocal leaves and that part of the track is like replaced by the bass, you know? So it's just like thinking about arrangement, thinking about how can I tell this story? How can I create contrast? Like a lot of, in bass music, what's really cool is like the contrast, that big moment where all of a sudden like shit's happening and how you get to that moment, you know? And it's like all of that stuff, like if you think about that in your rap beats are going to be cooler. I really think so. Or any other type of lyric driven music.
Thank you, Marc. Thank you so much, messieurs, dames. EYEMC.
Thank you guys so much.
Donc, Marc était le premier, la deuxième personne à parler anglais dans un MAUG depuis toujours. On avait eu Matt Black, le patron de Ninja Tune, qui était venu à l'altropisme nous expliquer plein de choses super intéressantes. You're the second only ever person to have come and do an English presentation to us all, and I'm surprised everybody fucking stayed.
Thank you guys.
Bravo à vous.
Did you guys? Were you guys able to follow along with?
On a tout compris.
Yeah.
Il parle super clairement, non? Il parle super clairement. Hein.
Awesome. That's so cool. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mark. And thank you to Mo as well, who has presented the first intervention tonight.
Thank you, Freddie.
My pleasure, my pleasure. OK, merci d'être tous restés aussi longtemps. On n'a plus qu'un seul MAUG cette saison. Vous savez qu'on arrête au mois de mai les MAUG. Le prochain MAUG, c'est le 15 mai. Non, c'est cool, on en fait 9 par an, c'est pas mal. Le 15 mai, et on va concocter une belle surprise. Si vous êtes vraiment des geeks d'Ableton, vous connaissez la dame qui s'appelle Madeleine Bloom. Non.
Nice.
Non. OK. Bon, Madeleine Bloom, c'est une sommité dans le monde d'Ableton Live. Madeleine Bloom a un blog qui s'appelle Bloom. Et c'est elle qui produit, par exemple, Max for Cats, plein de devices pour Max for Live. Madeleine Bloom, c'est elle, par exemple, qui a donné au monde ce qu'on appelle les text options dans Ableton Live. Vous savez, les text options, c'est des petits codes que vous pouvez rentrer dans Ableton Live qui vous font voir, par exemple, vos plugins sur les chaînes, ou qui vous font aussi donner une fonction qui s'appelle Map to All Siblings. Il y a plein de petites fonctions cachées dans Ableton Live qui ne sont que pour les développeurs d'Ableton Live, les gens qui travaillent pour Ableton Live. Et oui, Madeleine, elle a travaillé pour Ableton Live pendant 10 ans. Et Madeleine, elle connaît tous les secrets d'Ableton Live. Elle a un blog, elle est allemande, elle est de Berlin, et elle est certifiée par Ableton, évidemment. Et c'est une sommité dans le monde entier. Il y en a 5-6 comme elle qui sont reconnues. Dès qu'elle sort un truc, tu sais que ça va être exclusif. Elle vient nous voir. Ça fait 3 ans que je suis en train de l'appeler, en train de lui dire viens. Elle parle un peu français parce qu'elle s'appelle Madeleine. Elle a bon, c'est pas sûr qu'elle parle très bien français. I think the next month we have somebody else who speaks English as well. Je pense qu'on va certainement manger un petit peu d'anglais, allemand, français. Ça va être intéressant.
I feel like Ableton nerds usually speak English pretty well, or they can follow around.
All French people speak English, you know. Yeah.
Pas dans le sud, frère.
Yeah. They talk about Swedish, but we learn at very young age. Like we watch our cartoons in English and everything.
We don't watch French cartoons in America.
Okay.
Sorry.
Donc Madeleine viendra nous. Elle est performeuse. Elle fait des live looping. Et elle viendra avec les MAUG Gloves. Les MAUG Gloves qui sont des gants interactifs qui contrôlent Ableton. Sont les gants les plus cool, très chers d'ailleurs, mais les gants les plus cool pour contrôler Ableton Live. Ça, c'est Madeleine. Elle viendra faire du live looping pour nous et nous expliquer un peu plein de choses qu'on voudrait tous savoir sur Ableton Live. En première ou en deuxième partie, je ne sais pas encore dans quel ordre ils vont jouer, on aura Monsieur Colonna, Antoine Colonna, qui est bientôt prof. Il est là dans la salle. T'es où, Antoine? T'es là? Ouais, il est au fond. Salut Antoine. Antoine viendra nous parler de son live set. Antoine est là parce qu'il va devenir formateur chez FASTLANE bientôt. FASTLANE, oui, on a une école au fait, au cas où si vous n'êtes pas au courant. Une école de musique. Et Antoine viendra nous proposer de dévoiler son live set. Donc beaucoup de musique le mois prochain pour terminer la saison. Il va dévoiler son live set autour de l'APC MK2, n'est-ce pas? Mark II, et un petit peu comment tu t'es arrangé pour le MIDI mapping pour faire marcher tout ça. Je crois que c'est un peu le propos, et puis on écoutera ta musique, ça va être super. Merci Antoine, et encore une fois merci bien sûr comme tous les mois au Blackout avec Clément au son ce soir, Polo à la régie vidéo, Malo pour la technique, et
merci l'équipe
et les réseaux sociaux. Rappelez-vous aussi, pour ceux qui viendront pas le mois prochain, que le dernier événement de l'année pour nous, c'est le 21 juin. Tous les ans, on met le feu. On est les derniers à finir à Montpellier de loin. On s'est fait tellement gazer l'année dernière que on va recommencer. Donc le 21 juin, vous savez, c'est la grosse stuff. C'est à côté de l'école. On a 30 kilos de Function One qui viennent comme tous les ans. Alors que normalement, on n'est pas supposé dépasser 10 kilos dans un endroit aussi petit, mais c'est pas grave. On aura nos élèves qui feront la performance. On aura Crystal Distortion qui fera un live set aussi ce soir-là pour nous, parce qu'il est à l'école, vous savez, en tant que prof, c'est la semaine qui précède. On aura la sortie du Fast Fame Records numéro 8 ou 9, donc le label de l'école, avec pour la première fois un prof qui va signer sa propre musique sur le label de l'école. J'ai nommé Simon Galifet. Je ne sais pas si vous avez entendu un petit peu ce que Simon fait en ce moment. C'est assez exceptionnel. Nous, on l'a entendu. On a tout de suite dit, on veut être les premiers à signer ta musique. Et il a gentiment accepté. Donc ça sortira le 21 juin en live, bien sûr, parce qu'il joue live. Et ce sera sur un gros sound system sur le plan de l'Homme, juste à côté de l'école. Thank you very much, Mr. Mo, le créateur, le gérant et co-gérant et co-créateur de Jarring Effect. Ça fait aussi longtemps qu'on a essayé de te faire venir. Merci d'avoir accepté. Et merci pour toutes ces bonnes paroles pleines d'espoir quand même, malgré les AI qui nous surveillent et qui nous menacent. Merci à Marc EYEMC.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Our very first American intervention. Very kind.
Yeah.
On se revoit dans un mois. Thank you very much for being here. All of you. We love you. All of you. Thank you so much. À bientôt. Au mois prochain.
I just wanted to say that if anybody like has any questions about this stuff, because I feel like I could have gone on for like 2 more hours. This is my Instagram right here. Hit me up. That's the best way to contact me. If anybody's interested in like one-on-one lessons, help with production or engineering, like I don't have my visa here yet, so the only way I can like work is by doing music stuff right now. So like anybody wants to just like get together and learn or any of that kind of stuff.
Si vous voulez de l'aide à faire votre musique, il vous propose de venir travailler avec lui. Il travaille au black, puisqu'il n'a pas de visa.
Right.
Donc voilà.
And then the last
C'est ce qu'il
thing,
vient de nous dire.
I made a playlist and I made it on my SoundCloud page because that's like free that anybody can go to. So if you go to EYEMC, IMC on SoundCloud,
Okay.
and you go to my playlist, there's a playlist called MAUG Masterclass. I think it's something like that. And I put like 25 just cool bass music songs. A lot of them are like lyric influence based music songs, not all of them, but I just wanted to like share some music that I feel like explains and like can inspire you to like think about these ideas that we've talked about with mixing bass music. So I like wanted to like have something that had more examples. So there's that playlist. It's like a public playlist on my SoundCloud. So go check that out. If you just want to like hear more cool bass music from the States.
Donc il a compilé 25 super morceaux de bass music sur son SoundCloud. Vous pourrez arriver sur le SoundCloud avec EYEMC et YEYEMC Instagram. Ça, c'est son nom Instagram. Allez le suivre. Et si vous avez besoin de travailler sur de la bass music, il est là.
Or just if you have questions, like I'm not from here,
questions?
so I need cool
I think we kind
Ableton
of like
friends.
finished, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is usually the time we go. Goodbye.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, if you have questions afterwards, you can message me on Instagram or I like Ableton friends.
Messieurs, dames, bon
thank
mois.
you guys.
Merci Marc, merci Mo. Faites beaucoup de musique. Faites beaucoup de musique et à bientôt.